Now, let's focus on another story. Of course, we have that bigger issue of the pandemic that's still affecting many lives in the country. And today, a little bit earlier, ministers, cabinet ministers in the National Coronavirus Command Council briefing the media on level 4 lockdown regulations that were announced on Sunday night by the president, that's Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. Now, the NCCC, that's the National Coronavirus Command Council, giving further clarity on how these new regulations of level 4 will be working. The country is battling a concerning surge in infections. We are in the third wave. Gauteng is the epicenter. My colleague, the senior reporter at eNCA, Barry Bateman, tracking that story for us. Good afternoon, Barry. Welcome to the Media View. Thanks for being here. Now, the minister, that's Bheki Cele, has again been talking tough. How are the police going to enforce these new level 4 stricter lockdown regulations?
Yeah, good afternoon, Dan. Well, from Minister Bheki Cele making it quite clear that defiance of the regulations will simply not be tolerated, that the law enforcement agencies, of course speaking wider than just the SAPS, referring to the Metro Police and in some instances other armed or the law enforcement agencies, would be able to come in and assist the SAPS in ensuring that these regulations are adhered to. There was also a bit of a swipe at the EFF, if you recall, that soon after the President made those announcements of level 4, there was an announcement from them that they would defy these regulations and urge their members to do same. Well, Minister Cele is saying that this kind of defiance and commitment to undermine the regulations will not be tolerated. But he did take a slightly different tone when talking about how the police will approach the public. He says their goal is not to go out there and arrest people en masse. He said that by now he believes that the public understand the risks associated with the coronavirus and, of course, COVID-19, and he believes that there will be better compliance. But with that, he did point out that since the start of lockdown in March last year, more than 450,000 people have been arrested. And since the most recent increase to level 3, before we had the level 4 just this weekend, there's been a number of other arrests there. And this is where he was addressing this particular matter. Take a listen, Dan.
7,439 of them were arrested during adjusted alert level 3, which commenced on the 16th of June 2021. Police will continue to monitor compliance through targeted operations, which should be intensified in hotspot provinces. Committee members are also encouraged to continue to be instrumental in reporting the flouting of the regulations. I want to take this opportunity to remind the nation that reckless calls for mass contravention of the Disaster Management Act have no space in our society. If I want to emphasize this point, this has been done by some political leaders, but also some people from the business. I'm glad that there's been the change of heart on the call that was made when it comes to the people that trading in alcohol that they must defy.
Minister Bheki Cele. Now, travelling in and out of Gauteng, Barry, for leisure purposes, as we know, is currently prohibited for the next 2 weeks at least. How is this going to be enforced?
Roadblocks, Dan, and I just think back to those heavy lockdown days of last year where I found myself out on various highways, whether it be the N4 to Emalahleni, we've got the N1 to Polokwane in Limpopo province. I remember massive roadblocks there where the police would stop people and question them about where they're going. Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma talking about how this will be controlled. Bheki Cele, they've got the men down and the men and women down on the ground. The Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma saying that employers will have to provide their workers with the necessary permits. You'll know from that announcement that no travel for leisure. So if you're going to be coming in and out of the province of Gauteng, you're going to have to present this work permit to justify your movement. So, and also the essential services would be allowed to move. But on that reason, so we were asking in this press conference earlier today, what is the rationale behind this decision to impose this travel ban on this province? And this is what the minister had to say.
People must only travel to Gauteng or from Gauteng for business, for commercial, for work, for cargo, for transporting goods, but not for leisure. Only those who are traveling for those purposes will be allowed. And this is because Gauteng is the epicenter of this wave 3. And as the epicenter, it connects with many provinces as our economic hub. So if people move in and out of Gauteng, it means the infections will spread much faster to all the other provinces. That's why the interprovincial travel to Gauteng is limited.
That's Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma there, the Minister of Cooperative Governance in the country and Traditional Affairs. Now, Barry, you used the opportunity of this briefing about the coronavirus, the issue from the Coronavirus Common Council, with the news that broke at about 11 o'clock this morning. You asked the Minister, Barry Bateman, about the police's response to the judgment or the sentencing of former President Jacob Zuma to 15 months in jail. How did Mr. Bateman respond to your question?
Well, Dan, I think in the next couple of days it's going to be very telling on what's going. People are going to be watching very closely what's going to be happening down in Nkandla. You got those 5 days for the former president to hand himself over. If not, there's the 3 days which the police should react or respond to ensure that he is arrested. But given the defiance that has been shown by Jacob Zuma, it was just summarized so eloquently in this judgment. Do we anticipate some kind of standoff at Nkandla next week sometime? And this was the question that I put to Minister Barry Bateman, and this is what he had to say.
So you raise the issue that he will defy. I don't have evidence on that for now, but we are instructed by court, and the court, when instruct the law agencies, will have to act. But that matter is not on the table at the present moment. We have 5 days going forward.
5 days is going to be on Sunday, Minister Cele. We don't know. We're all watching. We'll see whether the former president, Jacob Zuma, on Sunday will hand himself over or not. He'll wait for the extra 3 days, and that's what the Minister Barry Bateman was referring to. Ending that report this hour by Barry Bateman here on the Midday View.